Hey, Mama. Welcome to the workshop called Mother They Were Waiting For, Healing the Parts of You That Got Lost. And this is a really personal workshop. So I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I've been through as a homeschooling mom. And just to kind of bring it fresh into your mind, have you ever had one of those days? The kind of days where you do not recognize the person who is parenting your kids. Don't recognize yourself. And every question feels like it's too much. And every sound they make grates on your nerves. And most things make you want to yell or completely disappear. And those are what I call my lava monster days. And I've had more of them than I'd cared to admit. Now, it's been many years since I've lived in the lava monster season, but I remember when I was fresh in that season. Whether I was standing in my kitchen and the dishes piled high or trying to just breathe and rest my eyes, and then someone screams in the background, and then I would snap. I would lose it on my kids. I'd yell right back at them, screaming right back at them. And they were little. And sometimes it was completely unprovoked on their part. They were just trying to get my attention. They weren't teenagers being defiant, they were just toddlers, just being kids. But the problem was, I was maxed out. And when I get maxed out, I explode. And it was something that was happening again and again. And it literally felt like it was every day. I was not the mom I wanted to be, not even close. And even now, when I talk about those moments and I picture them in my mind, my stomach still gets tied up in knots and I feel a little sick. And I remember there being one day I was trying to finish a project, and one of my sons walked out of his room, just greeted in the morning, and I snapped at him, and I watched the little lovely light go out of his eyes. And it's not something I will ever forget. I will carry it with me as a hard reminder of what was happening so that it never happens again. And so I can share it with moms who have a similar experience to let them know that it doesn't have to continue. And, you know, it wasn't just about the way I was acting in the moment, it's about who I feared I was becoming. And I was homeschooled. By the way, hi, my name's Amanda. If we haven't met before, Amanda Schenkenberger. I'm the author of Overwhelmed, and I'm a homeschool coach and I help moms calm the chaos and confidently homeschool. I have four boys, and this is a season when I had only three. And I was homeschooled, and I had quite a magical childhood growing up, and I wanted my kids to have that same magical childhood. And I thought homeschooling was supposed to be this wonderful thing that brought us all together, but I didn't even know who I was. Like I was so detached from my mind, my emotions, my body, everything just happened to me. Um, and at first, I'm a problem solver. So I was like, okay, maybe I need a better curriculum. Maybe I need a new planner. Maybe I need a different routine. Maybe I need to do something differently because I'm a doer. And then when I tried all the things, I started to believe something worse. And that was maybe that my kids needed a different mother altogether. And that was a really dark place. And I often talk about how I had everything I finally wanted, but I was tearing it down with my own hands, and I couldn't enjoy it. It was like I was living in hell because everything I wanted was right there, but I couldn't enjoy it. But what I've learned from that season, coming out of that season, was that my kids didn't need me to do more or to do things differently. They didn't need me to do something. They needed me to shift my way of being. And what they needed was me to find healing. So I'm going to share some homeschooling truths with you for this workshop. The first one is that you don't need your children don't need a perfect homeschool. You don't need to have perfect children to have a peaceful homeschool, and you don't need to be perfect either. What they need is a peaceful you. Because homeschooling is not about doing more, it's actually about becoming emotionally available. And I was not. We want to be the calm in their chaos. We want to be grounded in who we are, no matter how the day unfolds. And yes, that's hard because nothing will expose your deepest struggles like homeschooling does. When you're with your kids 24/7, moment after moment, and your triggers are constantly lit up, loud noises, emotional pushback, clinginess, defiance, or messes and demands. Maybe you felt that. Maybe for you, it's a tightness in your chest. Maybe it's a tightness in your hands. Maybe it's a different feeling. Maybe it's heat. Maybe, you start experiencing like you're snapping and you don't mean to snap. There's literally not the thought that I'm going to yell at them now. You just yell. And, there's moments where you walk away and you're like, why did I react that way? Or why does this bother me so much? What's wrong with me? And sometimes we feel like we're failing. But what if these weren't signs of failure, but invitations to heal? See, I believe that homeschooling can be a catalyst for your healing, because never in your life will you have more motivation to grow than when your children's hearts are on the line. You will never have as many opportunities to grow as when you're spending every day face to face with the very people who light up your nervous system. So yes, you're being triggered. But what if every trigger was a training ground? Every meltdown, every mess, every moment that you used to lose it is actually an open door to reclaim the parts of you that got buried. This isn't just about an opportunity to teach your kids. This is an opportunity to heal yourself again and again, day by day. That might be the most important thing that your homeschooling ever accomplishes. So let's talk about these 3 truths. Number 1, I want you to know that you're not broken. You've simply been building something you didn't mean to. And I talk a lot about building in homeschool, like very practically, right? We're talking about rhythms, we're talking about routines, we're talking about relationships and values. And sometimes, without even realizing it, we also start building something else. And that's a fortress. And we stack the bricks carefully one by one. Maybe it's overwhelm, self-doubt, childhood wounds, guilty for not being more patient, fear we're messing up our kids. Each one has a label. Each one is real. And we're not building this fortress because we're bad moms and we want to keep our kids out. Like if we really didn't want to be around our kids, we'd send them to public school. But we're building this fortress for our protection because our nervous system is screaming, this is too much. I don't feel safe. I can't handle one more meltdown. And in that moment, it feels like the threat is our children, their emotions, their mess, their chaos. But the truth is, we know they're not the threat. It's pressure, it's perfectionism, it's unhealed stories we've been carrying for years. It's old fears showing up in new places. So we shut down, we numb out, we raise our voice, we over control. And it's not because we're broken, but because we're trying to build safety with bricks that were never meant for connection. And that's why this truth matters. You don't need to bulldoze everything you've built, but you do get to start building something new on a foundation of peace, not protection. So the second truth is that emotional reactivity is learned and it can be unlearned. So you've been building in a direction, but it's been shaped by reactivity and self-protection. And here's what I need you to hear. You cannot stop building the fortress. You can't just stop. Your nervous system won't let you because it's trying to keep you safe. But you can pivot. You can start building something new, a foundation that's grounded in peace and not panic. You can start telling your nervous system, hey, we don't live there no more. We're not building that wall anymore. We're going to work on something new. You can't just stop a negative activity. You have to redirect the energy in a different direction. Because the truth is that no one told us growing up is that emotional reactivity is not a character flaw. Do not, let me say this again, because I have been treated by those closest to me like my character was out of order. And it did not have to do with my character. Emotional reactivity is not a character flaw. It's a nervous system response. Our nervous system has been reacting to try to protect us. And that is why we feel so torn up about it when we react the way we do with our kids. It hurts so bad because it's not the way we want to act. That's not a character issue. It's a nervous system response. And that brings me to something I call traffic light brain, which is a simple visual that helps moms and kids understand what's happening inside when emotions take over. And this is a tool I want you to start using to create some awareness around how you're feeling, when you're feeling it, why you're feeling it, because until we understand a little bit more, we can't pivot very well. So the traffic light brain is really simple. If you're in your green brain or your kiddo's in their green brain, you guys are calm, you're connected, you're open, learning can go well. If you're in your yellow brain, you're on edge, reactive, agitated, fragile. And then if you're in your red brain, that is where you've flipped your lid and you're in fight or flight mode and you're protecting yourself. Usually against misperceived threats, because your child's not a threat. And for so many of us, we live in yellow brain most of the time, snapping at our kids, feeling overstimulated, walking on eggshells in our own home. And it's not because we're bad moms, but because our nervous systems are trying to protect us from past pain. We learned to yell. We learned to shut down, power through, people please, and control. Because those responses used to work when we were kids or in survival mode. But the good news is what was learned can be unlearned. Now, you're not just going to stop yelling one day. You're going to unlearn yelling one pause at a time. One breath, one self-check, one yellow brain moment where you choose to respond differently, even if that just means walking away for a minute. And this is how we stop reacting and begin to heal. It's not the flipping of a switch. It is rewiring our responses day by day. The more you practice it, the more safety you build. Not just for yourself, but for your kiddos too. So if you go down to our engaging question where you guys can interact with me, I want to know what color do you think your brain is most of the day? I'd love to hear that from you, and I'd love to hear what's one thing you want to change, and we can kind of talk about that below. Now, the final truth I want to share with you is that reclaiming yourself is not selfish. This is what we call self-care. And self-care is not selfish. It is the greatest gift you can give your children. And this leads to the final truth I want to leave you with, that reclaiming yourself is one of the most profound gifts you will ever give your children. We can get so caught up in doing the right activities for our kids, curriculum, lesson plans, activities, healthy snacks, character training. But what if the best thing we could give them was a mom who knows who she is, who knows how to calm herself, who knows how to reconnect after a rupture, who knows how to be present in the middle of real life. Your kids don't need homeschooling to be flawless. They don't need you to be flawless. That's actually really bad. We wouldn't want you to be flawless. They don't need a mom who never messes up. They need a mom who knows how to come back to herself and to them. Because when you reclaim the parts of you that got buried under pressure or comparison or guilt, you're not just healing yourself, you're healing your legacy. Your peace becomes their safety. Your emotional regulation becomes their template. Your growth becomes their permission to grow too. And if any part of this has helped you feel seen, or if you're kind of sitting there with a lump in your throat thinking, oh my gosh, this is so me. That's why I wrote my book. My book is called Overwhelmed, a Homeschool Mom's Rescue Plan for Peaceful Routines. And it's what I wish someone would have handed me or reached out to me with when I was drowning in shame, snapping at my kids, wondering if I was ruining everything. And I would have had I not changed. I would have. I'm so, so grateful. I look at my relationship with my oldest child, my oldest son. And I just told him yesterday, I'm so grateful for the relationship we had. It was hard won, but it was so worth it. This book isn't another how-to. It's not another system to fix you. It's a rescue rooted in grace, brain science, and routines that actually fit your real life. Inside, I walk you through the exact mindset shifts and tools and emotional reset strategies I use with moms I coach every week. So you can stop surviving your homeschool and start feeling steady in it. You can go ahead and I think it's still on pre-order right now, but you can pre-order your copy. The link is below. And if you're not ready for your book, that's okay. I actually have the sticky notes for your soul download that you can find below as well. And it's in your swag bag. And it's just one thing where I want you to hang it where you'll see it in the morning. Right? You can use them as bookmarks. Keep them where you're going to see them. Because healing doesn't start with a plan, it starts with permission. So we need these sticky notes. And the truth is, I want to encourage you, if you're here and you want to make progress, you're already becoming the mother your kids are waiting for.